Hi everyone! I know it's been ages since you've seen any videos on this channel, and that's because life has been really busy. So before I get into the mid-year book Freakout Tag, which is the entire reason that I decided to film this video, I thought I would do like a quick update on a few things. So first, you might have noticed I am the only person in this video. My partner is not here, and that's because Mackie has decided to focus a little bit more on his writing, and he's been working very hard, and I'm super proud of him because he is currently working on a trilogy, and he's on the last book of that trilogy. It's all just a first draft, so it's really exciting. You guys might know he released a novella, a sci-fi novella, in 2020. Since then, he hasn't been able to finish the sequel to that one, although I think he's going back to working on it after he finishes this trilogy. But I'm super excited. He has really gotten into the writing groove, and I really don't want to jeopardize that, and he doesn't want to jeopardize that, which is why he hasn't been able to sit down and film with me in a while. And we've decided going forward that for now it's just gonna be me. We're just gonna chill. It's gonna take a little practice though, because I'm used to having someone to like sort of riff off of, and now I don't have that. So bear with me if it's a little awkward or a little weird, but yeah. The second thing is there are going to be other videos that we filmed ages ago that just haven't gone up. We did a lot of what we read videos where we reviewed the stuff that we've read, and I just hadn't had a chance to edit it and do stuff because there was so much going on. Last year was like helping my sister with her wedding planning, family coming to visit and stay with us, including my cousin who's been with us for almost half a year, a little bit over that. People getting sick, me attending a lot of weddings, including my sister's and two of my best friends, traveling a bit. Like, it has been a wild time since the last time we uploaded a video, and honestly, I can't even complain because it's all been good. Like, even with the downs, like whenever anyone got sick or whenever there was like a crisis to deal with, it's just been filled with family and with friends and so much love and so many exciting experiences that I can't really complain. So I'm back, at least for now. I don't know. I can't guarantee that this is gonna be very regular. Like, we'll have content for a while just because we have all the old videos that I need to upload and edit. Actually, the one video that we filmed this year that I do need to upload is a video where we reacted to the different episodes of the second season of Shadow and Bone, because we were super excited about that season, and both of us overall really enjoyed it. Like, we know there were a lot of changes, but for us, like, it didn't really change how we felt about the show. Like, we were just here for a good time, and a good time it was. So I am praying, hoping that there will be another season, or they'll give us the Six of Crows spinoff. Either way, you'll probably see that video at some point, hopefully, if I can get around to editing it. I also don't know what kind of videos I'll be filming since I'm going to be doing it mostly on my own now. We also have to account for the fact, like, we still have family staying with us, and it's gonna be a little interesting to try and like work around that if I want to do sit-down videos. So we'll see. I don't know, but I'm hoping to at least be able to talk about the books I've read. I have so much catching up to do, like so much catching up to do. I haven't shared my favorite books from 2022. I haven't been able to review anything for a good long while. So, you know, those are all coming. On to the main point of this video, which is to film the mid-year book Freakout Tag. I just felt like it would be a shame to miss it. We've done it for so long, for so many years, and it would be kind of sad if I didn't get to do it this year, even if I'm doing it on my own, which is already in and of itself a little bit sad. Also, I don't think I said it earlier, but once there are any updates about Mackie and the thing that he's working on, the series that he's working on, I'll be sure to let you guys know. It's been interesting for both of us just trying to sort of figure out how to shape our creative lives now, considering all of the new stimuli and elements and aspects that we have to work around, but we're getting somewhere. And I hope, for me at least, this is the start of me being able to talk about books online again, because it's been a hot minute. I think the only place that I keep relatively updated, there are only 3 places: Goodreads, Storygraph, and Instagram. So I will leave all the links to that below if you want to follow me, because I generally do a better job updating there, and I've been trying to at least write semi-coherent reviews after I finish a book. I've been doing great at reading though, because I am nearly at 100 books at this point, so I'm very much gonna hit my reading goal. Anyway, on to the mid-year book Freakout Tag. This was originally created by Chami and Ellie, I think. Again, I'll link all of this below. I will also include the questions in the description box so that if you guys feel like answering or sharing your answers, or linking me to your videos if you made any, I'll be happy to hear them too. Okay. So, we're gonna get started. The first question is the best book that you've read so far this year. And to be fair, I actually haven't had a lot of like purely 5-star reads, but the first book that garnered a 5 stars for me this year is actually a book that I cannot stop thinking about. I have seen lots of other people talk about it because they also loved it, and I had a feeling I was gonna really like it, but I don't think I anticipated how much I was going to just really enjoy it and get caught up in the story. And that book is Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. This book was fantastic. It's interesting to me because it's not normally in the wheelhouse of the things that I would classify as my favorite, especially in terms of genre, because it's not a fantasy and it's not really a romance. It's more literary fiction, it's a bit contemporary, a bit historical, and it's about these two individuals who meet as children and they sort of form a bond over gaming. And eventually they meet again as adults, and then they end up working together to develop and create a video game. And it chronicles the story of their lives, their relationship, the people around them, and it does so in a very interesting way. There's like different formats, it's a little experimental sometimes, but I was just really blown away by this. I did not anticipate coming to care about these characters. Like, even when they were doing things that frustrated me, or like I felt like I wanted them to just, you know, communicate better, like the way Gabrielle Zevin wrote this story just felt so authentic, and I don't know, it just really captured my heart. I actually listened to the audiobook for this one, and it's so good, like it's so good. So I actually want to reread it so that I can annotate it. But yeah, this book was such a surprise. It's still one of the books that I've been thinking about, and I read it like way back at the beginning of the year, so definitely the best book I've read so far this year. The next question is the best sequel you've read so far this year. And I'm gonna kind of cheat a little bit on this because I've read a lot of sequels. I don't know that I would necessarily call any of the second or third books in a series, like a full-on trilogy or duology, the best that I've read. Like, I've enjoyed a lot of them, but they're not the best. So I'm gonna pick one companion novel, which I recently read, and that is In the Weeds by B.K. Borison. Holy moly. Okay, so I had really enjoyed Love Light Farms, which is the first book in this series, and it is a friends to lovers romance where they sort of fake date, and it's set around Christmas time on a Christmas tree farm, and it was a delightful thing to read. I had a feeling that I was going to love In the Weeds, which is the second book in the series. It follows two characters we meet in the first book, Beckett and Evie. I had a feeling I was gonna love this even more, and especially because my friend DJ, just the way he talked about this book, had me convinced I was gonna love it. And he was right, and I was right in guessing this, because this book was so good. Evie is a social media influencer of some sort, and she is really questioning where she's going with her life and is trying to figure out what would really make her happy. And that sort of leads her to come back and visit Inglewild, which is the town where Love Light Farms is. And she crosses paths with Beckett, who she had a one-night stand with, and their relationship blossoms. And yes, that is a reference to the flowers. But seriously though, this book was just heartwarming. It made me feel all the feels. I loved Beckett, I loved Evie, I loved watching them just develop this relationship and watching it flourish. This book made me cry, and I don't think I was expecting that because it's been a while since that happened to me in a romance. But like, it's so good. It's just, it was everything I wanted out of this book, and I just love it so much, and I am so excited that I finally read it. However, there is another book that I could have used as the answer to this question, and it technically counts as part of a series if you're going to consider The Universe, which is officially on Goodreads anyway, and how everyone references it. So if we're talking about The Universe, this is book 3 in the Secret Shanghai universe, but this is also the first book in the duology, and that book is Foul Lady Fortune by Chloe Gong, and this book was so much fun. Like, I love the These Violent Delights duology. I love it. I love it. I love Roma, I love Juliet, I love Marshall and Benedict, and I love all the angst and the twists and turns of that one. But this one, so much fun. Like, of course it's based on a comedy, so it's a little bit more lighthearted. Like, there are still stressful things going on in here, don't get me wrong, but like, it's got spies, it's got assassins, it's got people trying to figure things out with a fake marriage plot. And there's a whole conspiracy going on in this one, and I really don't want to get too much into it because it sort of has connections to things that we've seen mentioned in the These Violent Delights duology. You can totally read it without reading that one, by the way, but it's just so good. I loved Rosalind, I loved Orion. It was a delight to like follow them along. And even though I kind of guessed where the main plot was going, it didn't deter me from enjoying this one. So I'm very excited that I finally read it and that I loved it, as evidenced by the 10 billion tabs here. But yeah, it was great, and this is definitely an exciting new addition to Chloe Gong's YA body of work. The next question is for a new release you haven't read yet, but you want to. Like, the easiest answer to this question is The Sun and the Star, which is by Rick Riordan and Mark Oshiro, and this is a Riordan-verse book, a Percy Jackson universe book that centers around two of my favorite characters in that universe, and that's Nico and Will. And I'm actually coming off of having reread the entire Percy Jackson series, reread the entire Heroes of Olympus series, and finally finishing the Trials of Apollo series. And like, I love Will and I love Nico, and I want to see what happens to them. So of course this is a book that I definitely want to get to before the year ends. Like, it is high priority for me. Another new release that I haven't gotten to, but that's only because I just got it, is Shanghai Immortal, which is by A.Y. Chow. Like, this book sounds fantastic. Like, I don't know, it just sounds like it's gonna be a good time. This is about Lady Jing. She's a half vampire, half fox spirit character, and she is a servant to the King of Hell. And she basically has to journey through Hell and Shanghai because she's trying to solve the mystery of her heritage. And it just sounds like it's gonna be delightful. This darker edition is the Fairy Loot edition. It's got beautiful sprayed edges, and it's also got this fantastic, I'm just gonna show it to you because it's very pretty. It's got this beautiful design on the hardcover. It's got end papers there, and it also has, I think, different end papers on the back. Yep, that is correct. Yeah, so this looks like it's gonna be a good time. I certainly am excited to read it. And one other book that I feel is worth mentioning as well is Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros, because everyone and their mother is talking about this book, whether people have liked it, not liked it. I'm a little nervous because of the hype, but like, it's a Dragon Academy book basically, and it also has romance in it, so I can't really complain about those two things. So I'm looking forward to reading it. I hope I enjoyed as much as everyone else has. I really, like, it does sound like something that's right up my alley, but I really hope that I love it. All right, the next question is your most anticipated release for the second half of the year. I really have to mention this book, and it's The Hurricane Wars by Thea Guanzon. Fun facts before we get on to this. Thea and I actually know each other, and it's interesting because I was so excited when I like randomly found out about her publishing deal, because Thea and I went to the same elementary and high school. In Bacolod, which is like such a small world, and I'm so excited for her that her debut is coming out this year, and it sounds so good. I love that it is based on Southeast Asian sort of lore and mythology. The fates of two bitter enemies with opposing magical abilities are swept together in the Hurricane Wars, and it's a romance trilogy. It's in a world inspired by storms, hurricanes. I'm so excited. Oof. I've been holding on to this since I first got it. I think I got it in May. And the reason I'm holding on to it is because I kind of want to read it for my birthday, but I'm so excited. So this is definitely going to be a book that I read soon and report back on. Another book that I want to mention is Tessa Miyata is No Hero, which is by Julie Abe. This is a new middle grade fantasy from this author. It is, again, inspired by Japanese lore and mythology, but this time it's set in modern day Tokyo. I honestly don't need to know much more than that because this is Julie Abe, and I love her Eva Evergreen series. It is incredible, and I enjoyed that so much, and I am certain 100% that I'm going to enjoy this one as well. More anticipated releases that I am excited for coming out for the rest of the year. There is A Curse for True Love, which is the finale to Stephanie Garber's Once Upon a Broken Heart series, which I love. I love the whimsy of that series. I love the magic of it, and I am dying after last year when I read The Way the Second Book Ends, so I need to have that. I need to have that finale. Another finale that I'm excited for is Foul Heart Huntsman by Chloe Gong, which is the sequel to Foul Lady Fortune. I am so psyched to see how everything wraps up in there. Like, if you know, you know. And then I'm also excited for The Chalice of the Gods by Rick Riordan, which is a Percy Jackson adventure with Percy, Annabeth, and Grover trying to complete a quest together. I'm super excited for that because Percy Jackson, right? So yeah, those are a couple of my most anticipated releases as well. The next question is biggest disappointment. I'm gonna preface this by saying that I liked this book. I did. The problem is, I think I had really high expectations for it, and that's Immortal Longings, which is by Chloe Gong. You might have seen that I gushed about her other book earlier, and the truth is I love all of her YA stuff, so it was a little sad for me that I didn't quite enjoy Immortal Longings as much as I enjoyed everything else. Immortal Longings comes out this month, and it is inspired a little bit by Shakespeare's Antony and Cleopatra. Basically, this is set in a world where every couple of years, or every year I think, there's a tournament in the city, and the tournament is basically to the death, Everyone basically competes for unimaginable riches, additional power. One of the competitors is Kalia, who is a princess who escaped the massacre of her parents. Actually, she is the one who massacred them. She wants to bring down the royal family, and so her goal is to win the tournament so she can take down her uncle, who is currently the king. And then you have Anton, who has his own reasons for joining this tournament. Of course, their paths cross and things kind of get more complicated. I will say that I really like the writing style of this. Like, I've always gotten along very well with Chloe Gong's narrative choices. Like, I liked her seeing what groundwork she was going to lay for this new cast of characters, this new setting, and the plot was pretty straightforward with a couple of surprises here and there, which always works well. The problem with this is that it didn't hit the mark for me because I felt like I couldn't really get a grasp on the characters, which is not the way I felt about any of the YA books. I didn't really feel like we got to know them outside of their motivations. And even though I enjoyed the banter and I enjoyed seeing their exchanges and all of that, I felt like they sort of fell flat for me, and the same goes for the secondary characters. And that didn't help with the romance either, because I wanted to, you know, I wanted to root for the romance because Chloe has done a great job with that in all her YA series. But in this one, I'm just like, it felt a little out of left field. It didn't feel quite as organic, so that was not great. I would have liked to see more of the actual tournament in it, although the actual plot itself of a character trying to do something for the greater good and like do something drastic to, you know, make some changes in the way a country is run is a familiar plot. It's not a bad thing. I just felt like I didn't feel so deeply about that either, which is a shame because I think it could have had more of an impact otherwise. I also felt like this is her adult debut, and I know, I mean, it's a little bit more violent and there's a lot of more gore in it, but I actually didn't feel like it was much of a departure from her YA books. So for me, this was like fine. Like, it was a fine book. I'm definitely willing to give a chance to the sequel just to see how things go. And, you know, I'm a Chloe Gong fan, so I'm probably gonna keep reading it anyway. But yeah, this was unfortunately my biggest disappointment this year, and it makes me so sad to say that. Biggest surprise. This Vicious Grace by Emily Thied. Okay, I don't know if I said her last name right. I'm sorry if I didn't. But like, I honestly didn't expect to love this book as much as I did, because it does intentionally use a lot of familiar tropes, right, in a YA story. Like, it uses a lot of them. But for some reason, it all just came together really well, and it magically worked for me, I guess is what I want to say. This is about a main character named Alessa, and she is supposed to get married to someone because her gift is supposed to be magnifying the magic that her, you know, chosen partner has, but instead, she has ended up killing them. She ends up being targeted because everyone thinks that maybe the solution is to just get rid of her and hopefully have someone else step up into her place. So she hires a bodyguard named Dante, and things kind of go from there. And this book was such a surprise. Like, I genuinely thought I was going to enjoy it, but I didn't think I was going to be super invested in it the way I am. It starts out, like I said, feeling very typical YA fantasy. It has a lot of the tropes, but then at some point it finds its own footing, and it's cool to see Alessa and Dante sort of blossom into characters I really liked, and to enjoy the secondary cast as well, to watch the plot escalate to a point that I did not anticipate it going. And then the ending is also really satisfying, but at the same time it leaves it open for the second book to like come in and wow me even more, so I'm excited for that as well. I also quite enjoyed the dialogue, especially the banter between their two main characters, and the romance was definitely something that I liked too, so this was definitely a surprise. Favorite new author. So the thing about this is I don't think I've read more than one book or an author that I am not as familiar with, but I guess if I were going to predict whose works I'm probably gonna keep enjoying, I'm definitely gonna say Gabrielle Zevin. I plan to read her book, The Storied Life of A.J. Fikry, and maybe check out some of her other stuff. But another author that surprised me as well was Heather Fawcett with Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. Like, at the beginning, I was a little skeptical because I was worried that I wasn't gonna be feeling the same way that majority of the people I've seen have felt about this one, which is that they really enjoyed it. The funny thing is, I did really enjoy it. I think there's just something about the way she chose to write this book that really worked for me. She used sort of a journal entry style. There's a sort of dry humor to it, and the way she portrays fairies is fun. Her character, Emily Wilde, is great, and I enjoyed following her as a heroine, so I am looking forward to reading the sequel and maybe checking out some of Heather's other work. Newest fictional crush. Pretty easy. That's Beckett from In the Weeds and Orion in Foul Lady Fortune. And then we have newest favorite character, which, whew, honestly, that's a tough one. Is it terrible to say Beckett again? and Evie. I don't know, I just really love these two characters, and I clearly love this book. I also have to mention Marks from Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, who I adore. He has my whole heart. And I guess we have to mention the entire gang in Foul Lady Fortune. Silas, Phoebe, Orion. Love them. A book that made me cry. Okay, there are 3 books that I could use as an answer to this. Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, which I don't know how many times this is going to get mentioned in this video, but I legitimately was listening to the audiobook, and there came a point where I had to like stop because I was crying my eyes out, and I needed to get my composure back before I could continue reading it. But yeah, sobbed my eyes out. I also cried reading Book Lovers by Emily Henry. There was a part towards the end that also had me sobbing. The thing about Book Lovers is, the thing that made me cry is that there was a part that personally resonated with me. And it's funny because it's not really the romance that got to me, it was more the relationship between the 2 sister characters in this one. So that one too. And The Unsinkable Greta James by Jennifer E. Smith, which I finally read. This one got to me also. There was also a part where I was like, I need to stop, like take a minute. These characters, I felt so deeply for them, and just I grieved with them, if that makes sense. Book that made me happy. Easy. In the Weeds. This book also made me cry, by the way. I don't know why I didn't include that as an answer to the question, but like, this book also made me cry, but it did also make me happy. Another book that I want to mention that I don't own a copy of yet, and it's because I don't want to buy it in hardcover, I want to wait until it's out in paperback, but The True Love Experiment by Christina Lauren. This book is about Fizzy, who is a character we meet in the Soulmate Equation, and it's her love story, and I remember I was just reading this book and like I could not help it. I was just laughing a lot. I was like shaking my head in amusement a lot, and my cousin could attest to this because she was watching me read, well, not watching me read it, she was in the same room with me when I was reading it. Definitely have to mention that one as well. Favorite book to film adaptation you saw this year? As usual, some of my answers are going to be anime, so there's the 6th season of My Hero Academia. We all know I love My Hero Academia. Still love it. That hasn't changed. Doubtful it's ever going to change. Bungo Stray Dogs, which I actually haven't read the manga for but plan to. Also an excellent new season from them. We have Bleach, Thousand Year War Arc, which has been excellent as well. We have, oh, Daisy Jones and the Six is one of the few book to show, I guess, adaptations that I've seen, and I thought it was pretty good. Like, they changed a few things, and I didn't love all the changes, but I still think it captured the essence of the story, so that's definitely high up there. We have Demon Slayer, incredible season. We also have, of course, Shadow and Bone season 2, which was great. I quite enjoyed that as well, and you'll see more of that in the video whenever it goes up. The most beautiful book you bought so far this year or received? Okay, I mean, I had to. So, because Mackie and I both enjoy her books, we purchased the Fairy Loot editions of the Crescent City series by Sarah J. Maas, and they're beautiful. They come like this in a slipcase, so this is one side of the slipcase, and it says Crescent City 1 on it. It has this spine, and then it has her signature on the other side, and of course the spine of the book looks like that, which is great. This is what the book looks like. I love the foiling on this cover for House of Earth and Blood. Simple spine there. The back says "Through love, all is possible." The sprayed edges are lovely. There's this beautiful character art on the end papers, which I really, really like. Hold on, I just have to open it because, you know, we gotta take a moment to appreciate these characters. All right, so that's the first one. Hold on, I just want to put it back before anything happens. It also comes with a ribbon bookmark, just in case you guys wanted to know. And this is the second book. It says book 2 right there. House of Sky and Breath, signature, spine. Just gonna shake it out a bit. Here's the front, the spine. It says light it up, and papers are beautiful. And more character art, which I love, and a ribbon bookmark again. So, you know. I love these. Okay, anyway, definitely some of the most beautiful books I own now. The only problem I'm currently having is I don't have a lot of shelf space, and I can't really rearrange at the moment because we, again, have a lot of people with us right now. But best believe when I do, it's gonna get a place where they can be displayed properly and appreciated. The last question is, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? And for this one, I'm not gonna give a specific answer, but I will mention a project that I've been working on since the beginning of the year. So, at the beginning of the year, I decided to break my TBR down into three parts. There is the books that I had before 2023, books that are the next in a series, or like I own more than one next book in a series, and then the books I acquired in 2023. And my goal was to get the number of my pre-2023 TBR books down to 75. I've surpassed that goal. So I started with like, I think it was 110, something close to that. And I'm currently at 69, which I honestly can't believe it myself. And the thing is, I want to keep going. So now my new goal by the end of the year is to hit at least 50, if not lower than that, for my pre-2023 TBR. We're not going to talk about the 2023 acquisitions yet. That'll be for another time. I'm actually pretty proud of myself. And the funnier thing is, since I've been focusing on reading most of my TBR books, I should have just done that from the beginning, because my taste is apparently good for myself, which I should have known anyway, because most of the books I've read I really enjoyed. Like I'm trying to think if there was one that was off my TBR that I didn't enjoy, but I honestly can't think of one, so that's been good as well. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed catching up with me watching this mid-year book freakout tag. Hopefully you guys will come back around and check some more videos out if I get around to posting the rest, and hopefully I'll be able to post more new ones as well. It was fun to film this video, and I look forward to doing more in the future, and hope you'll stick around while the changes are made. And don't worry, Mackie will make appearances on this channel, I'm sure of it. There's like no way he wouldn't. Alright, I'll see you guys soon. If you want to find me elsewhere online, all the social media links are down below. You'll probably get more updates from me if you follow me on Instagram, Goodreads, or Storygraph. Anyway, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!